This is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG. Subscribe, rate, and review. Amazon, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast, check us out. Don't forget we're on Instagram at That Guy Jig. But the NBA season is starting to wind down. We're getting closer to the playoffs. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs because that's what we're getting near. We are starting to see people separate themselves in the MVP race. We're starting to see people separate themselves in the Rookie of the Year race. I mean, all the races are starting to come to an end. The marathon of the regular season is over, and now we are talking about the playoff push. I saw something earlier that had Victor Wembanyama winning Rookie of the Year. I think he won it the day he announced he was coming out for the NBA draft. Malik Monk, shout out to Malik Monk, sixth man of the year, well deserved. OKC's head coach will probably win Coach of the Year. Rudy Crybaby Gobert will finally get his Defensive Player of the Year award after crying for so long. The MVP is looking like Nikola Jokic. I could see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting it. I like Shai personally. But I could see why you give it to Nikola Jokic. What the Nuggets have done post All-Star break is nothing short of a miracle. Is nothing short of perfection. It's beautiful basketball was being played in that Mile High City. And I think they are also showing the world they're flexing their muscle and showing you that, yeah, we have Jamal Murray. Yes, we have Aaron Gordon. Yes, we have Michael Porter Jr., Kadavius Caldwell Pope, and that guy Nikola Jokic, Mr. Unstoppable down low. But they're showing you that the light switch has been cut on in the Mile High City. Now, Jamal Murray went down with the ankle injury. I don't think this is anything to be worried about if you're a Denver Nuggets fan. They're going to get his rest. And at this point, you're going to start seeing players like Christian Bryant. You're going to see Peyton Watson, Reggie Jackson. These guys are going to get more minutes, which are going to be good for them when it comes to playoffs because then they're not going to be shitting down their leg when it comes for the big moment. They are going to be ready. They're going to be willing and able because they've had to do it during the regular season. And that's the beauty. And that's the beauty about what Denver's doing. The number one seed currently in the West, they have it by one game. This is big because if it comes down to a playoff matchup between OKC and Denver, which is going to happen towards the later part of the playoffs, Denver will have home court advantage. I don't believe the Oklahoma City Thunder will make it that far because I believe with them losing, there's an off chance that the OKC Thunder could end up being a third seed. I know this is something that's kind of unheard of because all year they've been battling for the number one seed in the West. But I'm here to tell you their schedule gets a little bit more tougher than what it has been. OKC has done nothing but beat the teams that are in front of them. This is true. They do not make their schedule, but they have excelled in this schedule. The schedule I think before All-Star break was ranked 24th in the NBA as hardest. So there was 23 other teams that went through a harder schedule than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like I said, they win games. They win games. They're a young team. They're a fun team. They're having fun. You can see it in the post-game interviews. It's a team you want to be behind. Pause. But what I'm telling you is, this is not sustainable basketball. They need another big man. They need a true big man. They need more scoring. Shai going for 30 every night in the playoffs is not going to be conducive to winning. That right there will not hold water. It's a good bucket, don't get me wrong, but a bucket like that probably has a few holes in it. So the water you put in it ultimately will come out the bottom. The Thunder are a good team. I think next year, I've said this many times, next year I have them making a title run. I think this offseason they'll be able to bring in some pieces, get some players. They have all those draft picks. They'll be able to get some post players to bring in. But right now, they don't have a man in the middle. They don't have a man in the middle. And that's where you need to start when the best team in the West has a big man named Nikola Jokic. That's where you need to start, where Rudy Gobert is in the Timberwolves. Ivan Zubac is no slouch for the Clippers. Domantas Sabonis is no slouch for the Kings. The Dallas Mavericks, Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively make up their post play. The Phoenix Suns, Yusuf Nurkic, we saw him against the same Oklahoma City Thunder team get 30 rebounds, 3-0 in one game. This is true facts here, folks. The Lakers have Anthony Davis. Golden State is in the same position as Oklahoma City Thunder. They don't have a true post player. Kevin Looney, Draymond Green. I mean, back in their prime, that worked. But it also helped that you had Kevin Durant at one point. You also had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson in their primes. Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala. Like these things help. These things help. And then we look at the Houston Rockets, who are also surging right now, 9-1 over their last 10, a 9-game win streak down there in Houston. Their post player is out for the season, but they have a post player. My point of this is OKC is ill-equipped when you look at the rest of the West. The rest of the West has post players that they either A, can depend on for defense and rebounding, they can depend on for points, or they just run their offense through their big man. I think the Pelicans might be the one of the other teams on there, but when you look at how they run Zion, when you look at how they run Jonas Valanciunas, you can see what I'm talking about. A post player is key. The post players are making their way back into the NBA. You get Boston. Boston went and got Kristaps Porzingis for rim protection. The Bucks have Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis. Cleveland has Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. The Knicks have Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle. Orlando has Wendell Carter, Pablo Banchero. They have Franz Wagner. They have post play. You look at the Heat. Bam Adebayo. Chicago, Atlanta. Clint. Vucevic. Don't forget about Joel Embiid. May he have a speedy recovery. But my point is, you need some type of post play. You need some type of rim protection. I get it. Chet's a shot blocker in college. He's a rim protector in college, double guy in college. But this is not college. This is the big leagues, folks. This is the big leagues. And against big time competition, against big time post play, he's had his ass put inside the rim. He doesn't like it, and you can tell, and that's great to have in a player. A competitive drive, a competitive nature. You love to see it. You love to see the anger in his eyes when people say, "Oh, you're skinny. You're skinny. Well, I can't get big." Well, you're going to get big. That's what the NBA is for. The NBA will put the weight that you can't get. They will find it and put it on you and make it stick. Now, if you can stay healthy, that's the problem. Are you going to be willing to put the work in to stay healthy once you put the weight on? Because the weight is coming. The weight is coming. Trust me, there's no way. But what I'm telling you right now is the Thunder's year this year is going to depend strictly on if they are going to be able to match up with someone well in the playoffs. I don't see them matching up well with Phoenix and LA. Dallas and Golden State, yes, they match up perfectly for those teams. I don't think they'll have much of a problem with Dallas or Golden State. Dallas is going to be a problem because they have a guy named Kyrie Irving, and it's hard to close this guy out. It's also very hard to guard this guy. Luka Doncic is very hard to guard these guys. Dallas has been rolling post All-Star break, 8-2 over their last 10, and they're on a 4-game win streak. They're figuring out how they like to play basketball down there. And that's scary if you're a team like OKC. But I still would give the nod over Dallas for OKC. I would still give them the nod over Dallas. I will not give them the nod over a Los Angeles Lakers or the Suns. And if you listen to this show long enough, you know how I feel about LA. It's fuck LA to the day I die. But what I'm telling you is the Los Angeles Lakers are set up to pose a problem for the Oklahoma City Thunder. You have LeBron James, you have Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell is a new man, a new man. He's scoring at an amazing clip. The Phoenix Suns, you got Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. And like I said earlier, Yusuf Nurkic. I don't think there's any team in the Western Conference that wants to match up with the Phoenix Suns in the first round. Because at the end of the day, you're saying that you are willing and able to match up with these 3 All-Stars. One of them is for sure a Hall of Famer. The other 2 are on the borderline. But this is not a team that you want to play first round. No one's throwing their hands up in the air because they're playing their song when the butterfly flies away. No one says that when you're talking about playing the Phoenix Suns. There's not a party in the USA when it's time to play the Phoenix Suns. We are locking in. We're going to bed early, and we're figuring it the fuck out. Because I'm telling you, the Phoenix Suns, I've been saying this all year. The Phoenix Suns are one of those teams that they just have so much firepower, and it's such an offensive-heavy NBA right now. So I just don't like that matchup for the OKC Thunder. I don't like the Laker matchup for the Thunder. I love Golden State and I love the Mavericks for them. If they can match up with one of those two, they should be able to move on just fine. But for some reason, if they drop to this 3 spot and they end up with a first round matchup with the Kings once again, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. If they end up in a matchup with the Kings or the Clippers first round, I got to take the Clippers or the Kings. Because of the simple aspect, the Clippers just have so many defensive bodies to throw at you. You got Kawhi and you got Paul George, Trey Mann. Those three right there are solid two-way players that probably can't shut Shea down, but you know what they can do? They can make life difficult. And that's the thing. The Clippers have a team where they can employ someone just to play defense. Your whole job is to make it difficult on the other team's star players because we have James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George. So if let's say we put Trey Mann on Shea, I'm sure Shea will average 30, but nobody else on the Thunder are going to do much against those other three players. James Harden is a defensive liability, maybe, but is Josh Giddey going to go crazy on James Harden? No. No way, no how. Is Jaden McDaniels going to go crazy on him? Because he plays for the Timberwolves. This is a team that could match up with the Clippers. My point of the matter is that the Clippers have a solid team, like I've been saying all year. The Suns, the Clippers, and the Lakers are a team that I just don't want to play if I'm playing someone first round of the playoffs. I'll play these guys later in the playoffs because we all know these teams have injury problems and someone's liable to be hurt. It's literally, at this point, is mathematics. Paul George, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, LeBron James, someone is going to be hurt from one of these teams. Bradley Beal, someone's going to be hurt from one of these teams. So if you play them later, you feel a little bit better about yourself. You feel a little bit better about your chances if you play them later. Early in the playoffs, they're going to have a battery in their back, charged up, ready to go. So the Western Conference overall, when you look at it, it's still a dog race. There's about 9 to 10 games left depending on who your favorite team is. And if you're out west, it's a dog race. 1, 2, and 3 are all separated by 1.5 games at the most. 4, 5, and 6 are all separated by 2 games. 7, 8, 9, and 10. 7 and 8 are separated by half a game. 9 and 10 are separated by a little bit of a gap. But when you look at 10 and 11, it's a half game separating the Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. Now listen, I'm with Draymond Green. He probably shouldn't be worried about the Rockets. They've hit a hell of a streak, a hell of a path. Maybe they don't get in. But I will say this, if you're the Golden State Warriors and you're a Golden State Warriors fan, you're on a 2-game losing streak and you're 4-6 in your last 10. It seems as if Steph Curry has been ran into the dirt. It seems as Steph Curry needs to chill the hell out. He needs help. He needs help. I don't even see the benefit of the Warriors making the playoffs this year. It's just more mileage, it's more ruggedness on Steph Curry. And at this point, that's all you have. If Steph goes down, that franchise is fucked. So I think at this point, if the Rockets end up taking the 10th spot, I think you just sit back. You sit back and you watch this ship burn. And you get ready for the offseason. You bring in the fire department. You put the water out. You get rid of Clay. You get rid of that money off the books. You might even maybe get rid of Draymond. Hell, you might even get rid of Steph Curry. Because what have I told you guys? There's no loyalty in this. There's no loyalty in sports. If I'm able to get something for you before you're a dried up raisin, if I can get something for you, I have to. The best thing the Golden State Warriors, in my opinion, can do for Steph Curry is make sure he goes to a contender. Because it's going to take another 2 to 3 years for the Warriors to be relevant again. If you get rid of Draymond, if you get rid of Klay Thompson, if you get rid of, some of the youth to bring in more superstars, these guys have to jail. That's the part of this whole of building teams and models that I don't think people understand, is that there's one basketball between 5 guys. And you have to figure out if these 5 guys are going to gel enough to where this ball moves seamlessly through the offense. It ends up in the net time and time again. It took Golden State a very long time to get Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, Andrew Bogut. It took them a very long time to build these championships. I don't know if they have another window. I think their best possible outcome would be getting rid of Steph Curry, getting rid of Clay, hitting the reset button, let Steve Kerr go out and go out and ride into the sunset at his own accord, and just start over. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna keep trying to hold on to something and hold on to something and hold on to something to the point of this something is nothing. It's a shell of what it used to be. Imagine if Steph Curry starts playing like Klay Thompson. This is going to get a whole lot uglier before it gets any more pretty. So you might as well just get ugly now, go through your ugly phase of life, and then come back a beautiful rose and blossom. Because this shit's over in Golden State. At this point, if like I said, if the Rockets take over that 10th spot, you might as well just let them have it. Moving out east really quick. Boston still has a huge lead over everybody, 9-1 over their last 10. Just lost a 30-point lead the other day. So they just lost. They're on a one-game losing streak, but they're 10.5 games up on the next closest team in the playoffs. They have 57 wins, 15 losses. Is this a championship year? I told you guys no and no and no and no and no. The way they play basketball is not sustainable because once they start missing, they're going to keep shooting. They don't have a stop button that says stop shooting threes. Jason Tatum is a top 15 player at best. Jaylen Brown's a top 20 player at best. Kristaps Porzingis is top 30. My point being is you don't have a Himothy. You don't have an unstoppable force. Milwaukee has an unstoppable force. Denver has an unstoppable force. OKC has an unstoppable force. The Timberwolves have the face of the NBA. The future face of the NBA. The Suns, unstoppable force. The Lakers have unstoppable forces. The Dallas Mavericks. These teams have unstoppable forces. The Cleveland Cavaliers have a Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if you would consider him an unstoppable force because he's always injured. The New York Knicks have a Jalen Brunson, and so far, he's an unstoppable force. What I'm saying is, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are young. They're very young. This is understood. But I don't think people understand how hard it is to go to an NBA Finals. I don't think people understand how hard it is to win a championship. I hope for every Boston Celtics fan worldwide. I have a very good friend of mine who is a Boston Celtics fan. Every championship he talks about is from, well, you know when. Doc Rivers. It's hard listening to Celtics fans because the championships came at a time where only two teams seem to care about the NBA. It's just hard. It's hard to look at the Celtics when you know it's going to be tough for them to get past Milwaukee. Milwaukee's figured it out, folks. 6-4 over their last 10. They're starting to figure it out. They're number 2 in the East. Solidly number 2, by the way. 3-4 is a half game separation. 5-6 is another 2-game separation. So the East is pretty much, I believe the East is pretty much set in stone. With about 9 games left, depending on who your favorite team is, don't look to see too much shifting going around in the Eastern Conference in standings. I mean, the Chicago Bulls are 34-38 and making the play-in. The Philadelphia 76ers are 39-33. And the Bulls are 5 games behind them. Hopefully Joel Embiid comes back soon for the 76ers because I don't see this getting any better. They have to figure it out. Something has to change. I'm under the same mindset as I am with Steph Curry. If you somehow find yourself outside of the play-in, there's no point of trying to fight to get back into the play-in to get beat in the first round. Like I've been saying, James Harden, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid was not enough. So there's no way in Zeus's asshole, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid will be enough. So we are literally, we're around the corner and to the right of the playoffs, man. This is where shit gets serious. We're talking 16 wins for immortality. 16 wins for immortality. And that's all it takes. It's crazy. An 82 game season comes down to 16 games. 16 games will be who we remember. Who wins 16? I believe I truly believed in the beginning of the season. There's no way Denver repeats. They might be able to go back at another time, but it's so hard to repeat. But as I look across the landscape of the NBA, I just don't see who's beating Denver in 7 games. I just don't see it. Maybe we will see it. But until then, this is what we're going with. And this is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG. Subscribe, rate, and review. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And I want to say I appreciate everyone who listens every week. I truly do appreciate you guys. We're coming up on 1,000 all-time streams, and I'm gonna do something. We're gonna do something for the listeners. I don't know what, but we'll do something. Check out the Instagram for the updates. Once again, this is That Guy Jig. I am him, JIG. And peace and stay blessed. Thanks.